Students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I am streaming this lesson live from Budapest here in beautiful Hungary, right in the center of Europe. Hi, Hikmatillo, satisfying times. Pachu, good to see students in this class on time. We are looking at speaking part 3 of the speaking section in the IELTS exam. And this lesson is brought to you by our world-class IELTS self-learning websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, and for the general, check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. Now, this is a speaking class, everyone. So speak, type, and speak. Speak lots, okay? So speak and repeat. Speak lots. You can get our app, Academic IELTS Help, from your Google Play or Apple App Store. Good to see many members coming into the class. Barendra, Shenghung, Amarjeet, good to see you in this class as well. It will be very useful as you were in the last class also. Hi, Carolina. Good on you to be in this class before a practice speaking session. Good for you. Raghu, our new member, keeping up with it. Fantastic. Students, while we wait for a few more people, this is our general IELTS website. Click that red button to join our premium package there. And this is our academic website here for the academic IELTS. Click that red button to join us there. Hi, Roshni. Nice to see many of our members from our previous class that ended 30 minutes ago. All right, so students, if you have questions, send me an email, Adrian, A-D-R-I-A-N, at aehelp.com. This is the last class for this week, so there's no class tomorrow. I will be back on Tuesday with speaking part 1 at 15 o'clock Central European Time. Okay, I will also post this schedule again on our community bulletin board. So let's get into part 3, okay? Maybe many of you saw the class that was an hour ago on part 2. Part 2 was a cue card dealing with a person you know who is healthy and fit. Okay, so part 2 was cue card about a healthy and fit person who you personally know. Sonally, no. Okay. Now, for this class, I want you to focus on 2 important elements when we answer these questions together, okay? Number 1, use quantitative language. Excuse me. And 2, make sure to give specific examples, okay? Quantitative language means numbers, okay? Like twice, 5 times, 10 kilograms, 50 liters. So it's anything that we can measure, okay? It's measurable language. Okay, January 5th on a Tuesday. Okay, so I want you to focus on this type of language, this quantitative language. These are the only 2 really important points to pay attention to today, okay? And I want you to give specific examples. Now, oftentimes people confuse the why and the how concepts. Here, we're really looking at the how concept in the sense of how can we see this in the real world. So, visible real world examples that the examiner can see with their, it's called the mind's eye. Okay, so it's that eye that we have inside of our head. So we want to see what you're talking about with that mind's eye. Paint a picture. Okay, that's what we want. So focus on those two elements. All right, so members, viewers who were in the class an hour ago, make sure to connect your answers to the part 2. Here we go with the first question. So the examiner will say, please stop speaking. Your 2 minutes is up. I will take back the cue card, the questions, the note paper, the pen, and now we will continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about fitness and health. No surprise there. That was the topic of part 2. What are the benefits of daily exercise? So, what are the benefits of daily exercise? Amir, there's not a specific amount of band scores for part 2. It's an overall assessment. So you can lose a lot of band scores in part 2, Amir, or not much. It's an overall assessment. Okay. Oni says having a daily workout routine brings a plethora of benefits, not only physical improvements, but also mental fortitude as the brain receives more oxygen. Onisim, careful not to get too scientific in part 3. You're going to get yourself into trouble with awkward phrasing or use of words, okay? So careful not to overcomplicate. And again, students, be original and focus on the lesson objective, quantitative language, numbers, and examples. Vanessa says, health improvement brings about more willingness, increases job performance, and develops a strong mindset. In this way, people worry less and appreciate the little moments in life. Vanessa, I filled in a lot of your semicolons with the appropriate verbs. Make sure you pay attention to that. So in these classes, students, write the same way as you would speak, okay? So the goal here is to write the same way as you would speak. Hadi says, it not only makes people physically fit, but also keeps them energetic. Like I had mentioned, it helps us deal better with problems like my brother Tom, right? Hadi, I guess you were watching that class an hour ago. Good for you. Connected to your brother. So mention your brother. So like my brother Tom, right? Very good. Amar Wadi, good to see you in class. Okay, so exercising several times a day helps keep fitness and health. I just finished at the gym yesterday and I feel great about it and positive in this exam. Okay, students, so this is what I'm looking for here. I'll give you a little bit of guidance. So doing at least 40 minutes of exercise each day helps develop a healthy body and mind. As I had mentioned in the previous part, it builds confidence and optimism. As is the case with my brother Tom. Okay. Now, Tom is my specific example. So again, we're focusing on quantitative language and we're focusing on specific example that we can visualize. Now, because we did a good job in part 2 and the examiner visualizes the healthy and fit brother of ours, Tom, connecting with that example makes your communication extremely coherent, cohesive, and natural. Therefore, your band score goes book, 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 just like in a video game. And you get gold stars. All right. So students, repeat after me. What are the benefits of daily exercise? Doing at least 40 minutes of exercise each day helps develop a healthy body and mind. As I had mentioned in the previous part, it builds confidence and optimism, as is the case with my brother Tom. Okay? So again, make sure you repeat these after me. Use the question in your answer. Focus on that quantitative language, okay, for clarity, and connect with part 2. Okay, that's how you do it. Okay, now there will be follow-up questions in part 3 as always, okay? So this would be the follow-up question here. Are there any negatives? And if I don't catch your comment, don't worry about it. I'll catch different people at different times, but we do need to keep moving. So, are there any negatives to daily exercise? So Pavan says yes. As I start sweating, a lot of bacteria can accumulate and I could fall ill. I don't think so, Pavan. I don't think you're going to fall ill from daily exercise from sweating unless you suddenly go out into the cold while your body's overheated. Okay. Satisfying Time says absolutely too much of any activity can be harmful. Satisfying Times. Something is a bad thing. Thing defined by thing. I know people say these kinds of expressions sometimes in daily life, satisfying times, but it's not the best approach for the exam. Believe me, you can state that idea in a clearer way. So absolutely, too much of any activity can result in negative consequences, as is the case with excess exercise. The body loses strength, brain response is diminished, and blood pressure drops. In extreme cases, it can even lead to death. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, satisfying time. So notice those corrections and word replacements, okay? I love how you're presenting your ideas. Satisfying times, just really pay attention to your word choice, okay? Word choice. All right. Hussein Hassani says daily exercise has benefits as it keeps your body fit and healthy. I don't think that's for the follow-up question, so we'll keep moving. Yuya says, I don't think there are any negative consequences of doing exercise as long as people know not to overdo it. Okay. Yuya, avoid the word you. Okay, don't say you. Don't talk directly to the examiner. I know we do this in daily conversation, but in the exam, students, avoid the word you. You're not talking about the examiner, so it's not accurate communication. We do it, but it's not accurate communication. So Yuya, it's a good idea. Sure, take the positive position. Say, I don't think there's any negative consequences of doing daily exercise as long as people know their limit and don't overdo it. Okay, Shang Hung says yes. There are also some disadvantages of exercise every day. If people spend too much time doing a sport, they may lose focus on their work. Like last week, I ran a 42-kilometer marathon on Sunday, and I couldn't walk the day after. Shang Hung, I wonder if that's a true story. I can empathize with you. Good example. I like it. I like, Shang Hung, how you used quantitative language, 42 kilometers, and Sunday, so I can visualize it. You gave me a good example, and I'm going to give you a high band score. Okay, that's how it's done. Good for you. Yes, when a person overworks their body, such as going on 30-kilometer runs daily, they will likely end up injuring themselves, as this is proven to lead to joint and muscle damage. So people should not overdo exercise regularly. Okay? Remember, focusing on that quantitative language and the examples. My friend ran too often, too much, and now he has chronic knee pain. Okay, there we go. Speak and repeat after me. Speak and repeat. Students, are there any negatives? Yes. When a person overworks their body, such as going on 30-kilometer runs daily, they will likely end up injuring themselves, as this is proven to lead to joint and muscle damage. So people should not overdo exercise regularly. My friend ran too often, too much, and now he has chronic knee pain. Okay, let's do a little bit of focus work here, students. A little bit of focus work. So notice something interesting here. Right away, I answer affirmatively yes. And then I have when a person overworks their body. This is the dependent clause. Okay. Or also called the subordinate clause. And then here, I have the rest of it, okay, which is the independent clause. Also called the main clause for grammar buffs. Now, notice what I've done here, and this is kind of cool. This is a good strategy. It's a good technique, and I encourage you to incorporate this into your skill set. Notice this element here with the comma. So there's a very important comma here. Okay, pay attention to that. And there's another comma there. Okay, so pay attention to that. And in this part here, so maybe I'll make this a segmented line. So such as going on 30-kilometer runs daily, okay? So this element here, grab a different color for us. So notice this interesting strategy, what I'm doing with my response. I'm creating a conditional sentence. I'm using a real condition with when. And I'm breaking the dependent and the independent clause with an example using that quantitative language, okay? So what I want you to try, is that clear before I ask you to try this, okay? Is that clear? That kind of complex language where I have a complex sentence, so main clause, preceded by the dependent clause, and then between the two, so as I break the main, because I could take that out, right? So I could say when a person overworks their body, they will likely end up injuring themselves. So a good place to stick your example is between the two parts of that complex sentence, okay? So give that a try. Okay, answer this sentence one more time. Use your own words. Use maybe a different example. And answer this one more time. Are there any negatives? So give me a sentence where you have a dependent clause, comma, example, comma, and then the independent clause. Okay? Give me an example response like that. Native speakers do this. It shows fluency, shows the ability to hold an idea. Okay? All right. So it looks like most of you understand it. Rosama, if it's not clear, let me know what's not clear. Okay. Onisim, that doesn't work. Okay, so rethink it. That's not quite accurate. I'll wait for a minute. Give you a chance. Okay. You can try it with a different condition. All right, don't jump ahead, students. We're going with the same question here. So are there any negatives to daily exercise? Okay, let's do this one first. All right, Yvonne, I see that you're jumping to the next question. All right, so focus on this one. Again, dependent clause condition, comma, example, comma, independent main clause finish. Okay, Hadi, good. So Hadi says, yes, when people overdo some activity, like going to the gym every day, they are more likely to hurt themselves. Hadi, very good. All right, nicely done. So one more time, Hadi. Yes, when people overdo some activity, like going to the gym every day, they're more likely to hurt themselves. Really nice, natural language. Okay, good. Hossein Hassani says, yes, when anybody overworks their body, such as lifting 100-kilogram weights every day, they will likely end up with a back injury. Back injury, right? Like, oh, my back, it's done. Hussein, very nice. One more time. Yes, when anybody overworks their body, such as lifting 100-kilogram weights every day, they will likely end up with a back injury. These are high band answers, okay? David says, absolutely, too much effort on a specific physical activity, such as running more than 3 hours per day, could bring detrimental consequences like damage to the knees. Right, David? Very good. Okay, nicely done. Masiha Ronsanse says, yes, when individuals exceed the healthy amount of a workout, they will likely end up with injuries. Masiha, not bad. Stick an example in between. They would likely end up with some back injuries and the previous dependent clause. Okay. So Hikmatillo says, no negatives. If a human does exercise daily, such as running about 20 kilometers, they will be able to make themselves much healthier and have lots of energy. So Hikmatillo, you went with the opposite side. That's good. All right. Pachu says, yes, when an individual overworks their body, such as running 200 kilometers in 3 to 4 days, they will likely cause injury to their joints and tendons. Okay. Bengali, if the cam is lagging, it could be because of the internet connection between me, the satellites out in space, and wherever you are located. I'm not sure. All right. So some good responses there. Roshni, absolutely. There are various cons a person may experience exercising beyond their limit, like skiing 500 kilometers a day. They will likely injure some muscles. Roshni, that's not exactly it. Keep going with it. All right, students. So again, another little tip there for you. Focus on quantitative language. Focus on these examples. This is one way to do it. It's a natural way. It shows complex, coherent language. I highly recommend applying that to your skill set. You can also use that in writing. So in writing task 2 and even in writing task 1, you can apply that strategy for some better marks, okay? More complex language. So remember, complex sentence, where you divide with the comma, you can stick an example in, okay? All right. Here we go. Next question. Which sports are the best to do or play for long-term health? Why? Okay. Which sports are the best to do for long-term health? Why? Charlie Sen says, that's an interesting question. I think playing most outdoor sports, which involve lots of physical activity like football, cricket, rugby, tennis, have benefits for health because of all the fresh air. Right, Charlie Sen? All the fresh air. Okay. Vanessa says, I believe that sports that focus on stimulating the cardiovascular system, such as running, swimming, and dancing, are great ways to achieve long-term health because they not only bring improvements to the body, but also the mind. My 76-year-old grandmother, for example, is in good health probably because she goes to the gym 3 times a week for the past 10 years and jogs a couple kilometers even today. Okay, Vanessa, nice. So there's some nice quantitative language in there. Vanessa, simplify some of your ideas. So I believe that cardiovascular sports, such as running, swimming, and dancing, okay? You can actually use cardiovascular, Vanessa, as an adjective. So cardiovascular sports, such as running, swimming, and dancing, okay? All right. Hi, Daniel. We missed you in the last members chat class. Violeta Castro Paredes says, I think swimming is the best sport because it is cardiovascular exercise and helps improve overall health, and there's not a lot of impact on the joints. I would agree, Violeta, that arguably swimming is the healthiest long-term sport that we can do. So let's go with that one. I believe that swimming is the number one activity to do for decades, as it is not only cardiovascular exercise that works the entire body, but also a low impact sport which does not cause damage to joints and ligaments, as it is a reduced gravitational environment. My grandfather is an avid swimmer, and he is the ripe age of 97. All right. So here we go, students. Okay, I'm pushing your vocabulary. I'm pushing your language skills. Bear with me. I will explain. So which sports are the best to do or play for long-term health? Why? I believe that swimming is the number one activity to do for decades, as it is not only cardiovascular exercise. Cardiovascular exercise, students, means that it works the heart, okay? So the heart is the cardio, okay? A cardiologist is a heart doctor, cardiologist. And vascular, veins. So the cardiovascular system includes the circulatory systems, all the veins and arteries. in the body. So cardiovascular exercise that works the entire body, right, as you're swimming along, but also a low impact sport. So impact means to hit or to compress, okay? That's impact. It's the point of contact in a hit, all right? Low impact means that it's gentle, okay? When you're running, it's very hard on the knees. Bang, 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 bang. It's a high impact sport. American football, boxing, those are very high impact sports because there's actual physical compression, okay? And so it's a low impact sport which does not cause damage to the joints and ligaments. So joints are the connections in your body. So in the knees, it's the connection in your knees. And the ligaments are those connective tissue that run along the sides of joints that stretch and compress. Okay? So, one more time from the top. I believe that swimming is the #1 activity to do for decades, as it is not only cardiovascular exercise that works the entire body, but also a low-impact sport which does not cause damage to joints and ligaments, as it is a reduced gravitational environment in the water. My grandfather is an avid swimmer, and he is the ripe age of 97. Okay, so avid swimmer means that he loves it and he does it frequently, regularly. All right? Okay, let's keep going. How have governments supported the health of the general public? Okay, so how have governments supported the health of the general public? Give me a nice answer for that one. While you do, I'll read some more comments for the previous question. Sheng Hung says, some activities are excellent sports to do every day, like aerobic sports, such as running and swimming, or anaerobic exercises like going to the gym and weightlifting, which help to build stronger bones, strong skeleton. Very good, Shang Hung. It not only improves metabolism, but also makes the body strong. Like my grandfather, who swims and goes to the gym. He is now 82, but looks like he's 60. Come on, Shang Hung, let's give him another 10 years. Looks like he's 60. Okay? Ikmatillo says, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best sports for long-term health is tennis. Tennis, Hikmatillo, is high impact. It's hard on the bones and the joints. That's why we have an expression, Hikmatillo, called tennis elbow. Tennis elbow. That's where the elbow takes a lot of damage. Okay, it's called a tennis elbow. Roshni says, athletes build strong bones and have less damage to muscles than other sports. All right. That's keeping it simple, Roshni. You want to be more direct. Okay, so now we have some answers coming up for this question. How have governments supported the health of the general public? Anil says the government supports general public health by building free gyms. Okay. Anil, pay close attention to the question. How have governments, not how can governments. So it means that they're doing this. Okay. All right. Tuguldur says, some governments have executed large-scale actions like vaccinations free of charge, while other governments have taken the approach which includes the participation of people in public exercise. Tuguldur, very good. Now, Tuguldur, think of some quantitative language, okay, like tens of thousands of free vaccinations and hundreds of people in large open squares doing exercise from 7 to 8 a.m. in the morning. And it'll be that much better, Tuguldur, okay? So you're in the right direction. As you know, I'm always pushing you to do better, okay? All right, Kaluk Chan says governments can provide more funding to the community centers so that people can participate in sports more readily. Kao Luk Chan, same thing, careful. This is asking how have governments supported the health. If you say that governments can, you get into a dangerous situation because the next question is, can you give suggestions for future improvement? And then you're like, ooh, did I just answer that question? So now you've created a problem for two questions. Okay. Yvonne, very good. So Yvonne says, I know that in my city, the local authorities pay thousands of dollars to support children's sports clubs. Yvonne, great. Yvonne, give me an example to that, and I'll give you a really good band score. Okay, so Yvonne says, I know that in my city, local authorities have given thousands of dollars to support children's sports clubs. In fact, the football team called Little Lightning, which plays in the field near my home on the weekends, is fully funded by this initiative. Okay. Also, the national government has paid millions of dollars into the healthcare system to provide free vaccinations to keep the public safe from epidemics. Okay. All right. Good. Good. Nice. Yvonne, that was a nice start off. Absolutely. Just take it one step further. Get creative. Okay. Get those quantitative numbers and those examples in there, students. So how have governments supported the health of the general public? I know that in my city, name the city, Moscow, local authorities have given thousands of dollars to support children's sports clubs. In fact, the football team called Little Lightning, which plays in the field near my home on the weekends, is fully funded by this initiative. Also, the national government has paid millions of dollars into the healthcare system to provide free vaccinations to keep the public safe from epidemics. Okay, good. Next question. Can you give suggestions for further improvement? While you're thinking about your answers for that one, I'll read some more answers to the previous. Okay. So again, can you give suggestions? This is why you have to be very careful, because if you were giving suggestions before, now you're like, I think I just did that and I'm in trouble. Okay, so careful. So now, can you give suggestions for further improvement? Okay. Marasa says, the regime in my country has made several parks which are free of cost for individuals, where people can go for runs and exercise. Not only this, but recently the government has also built recreation centers in each district where the community can do activities like dancing and swimming. Okay, Marasa, a little bit more specific words for your answer. Okay. All right, some questions coming up, or some answers coming up for this question. Charlie Sen says, I would say the government can create more sports stadiums and gyms, not just for athletes, but for the average citizen. Governments can encourage their populations to utilize these to improve their health, like China does. Okay. Yeah, and Charlie, I'm very happy to say that Canada is really big on that as well. Every neighborhood has its own recreation center. Chaabi says, I strongly suggest an open area gym like the ones in the US where athletes can work out with the public watching. In my opinion, this will motivate thousands of individuals to follow in their suit. Follow in their suit. Chaabi. Satisfying times. Okay? All right. That's a very clever answer. Satisfying times, and it's very visual. Yeah, it's actually becoming quite popular even here in Hungary. I'm seeing these open gyms where you can actually see people working out. Jungle gyms made out of steel and concrete, so they last and don't degrade with weather. Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Okay, those are some good answers. Prince Kakarot Daniel, I'm guessing you're a fan of Dragon Ball, says, well, that's your example. I'm guessing you had maybe another answer before that. No, I don't see it. So the example you're giving us is the Belgian government can provide free education, like providing free medicine. Prince Kakarot Daniel, I'm not sure how free education and free medicine are related to each other. So free education is knowledge, free medicine is an object. So you don't want to mix those two. It's confusing. Okay. Pavan says the government can provide awards and certificates and even cash incentives for those people who participate in sports regularly and motivate the public. Pavan, very good. Throw a number in there, like $1,000 cash prize. Okay. Very good. All right. Yes, I do believe that authorities can further motivate their citizens to exercise more often through free of charge recreation centers and advertising. Also, governments must make sure that the quality of food in stores is kept to a high standard and provides nutrients for citizens. To this aim, or to these aims, the government ought to allocate at least 20% of taxpayer budget. Okay? So here we go. Repeat after me. Can you give suggestions for further improvement? Yes, I do believe that authorities can further motivate their citizens to exercise more often through free of charge recreation centers and advertising. Also, governments must make sure that the quality of food in stores is kept to high standards and provides nutrients for its citizens. To these aims, the government ought to allocate at least 20% of taxpayer budget. Again, quantitative language. Remember, that's a big part of the focus of today's class is that quantitative language, just so that it makes communication clearer, okay? Yeah, two ways, right? Of course, food and exercise. That's what governments can always improve on. So don't let GMO foods into stores that are lacking nutrition or vitamin value, right? Okay, all of those great points. Allocate, if that's a new verb for you, allocate means to designate. So if I have 100% and I allocate, it means I give in that direction. Okay, that's the meaning of allocate. To these aims means to achieve these goals, the government. Okay, aim means to aim in a direction. Okay, so to these aims. All right, that's what it means. Okay, so students, here are some more questions. Let's talk international sports. What are the biggest international sporting events in the world? Why are these so popular? Is it acceptable that countries can buy athletes from other nationalities to represent them in international events? How do you think international sporting events will change in future years? I'll leave these questions for you to do for homework over the next couple days. Remember, the next class will be on Tuesday at 15 o'clock Central European Time. Until then, record these answers to these questions on your mobile phone. You can send them to me, Adrian at aehelp.com, and I will gladly give you a band score estimate to those answers, okay? Make sure to join us on our websites for lots more IELTS help. You can try our courses for free by clicking on the green demo button, and you can also get the premium package by clicking on the red buttons. I'll show you what that is actually. I don't think I usually do that. So there's two ways. One, click on the green try the demo, that's free. And then you can also click on the big red button to join the premium package. So that's the academic, and that's the general version of the website. Students, that's it for this session. You have done a great job. Remember, quantitative language and examples earn you band scores. Okay, keep that in mind. And have a wonderful rest of your week and a great weekend. I look forward to giving you more advice and teaching you more English and IELTS next week. Much love to all of you. Bye from now, from the heart of Budapest here in Central Europe.